How much should you convert from your traditional IRA or traditional 401k to a Roth IRA or Roth 401k? That is a very good question, and it's one that I'm being asked all the time because everyone knows that the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act is going to expire at the end of 2025, and tax rates are going back up in 2026. And it could be the same thing that is on your mind today. People that I talk to are feeling like, I'm running out of time. There's only about 18 months left before the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act expires. What action should you take, if any? Should you convert from your traditional IRA or 401k to your Roth IRA or Roth 401k? To answer that question well, you've got to look at what can you do to minimize your lifetime tax bill. It's not just about doing a Roth conversion because we're hearing about it a lot. It's about making sure that you are minimizing your lifetime tax bill. And in order to do that, you've got to look at the taxes you're paying now versus the taxes you're going to pay in the future. And think through the different stages that you will have when you're paying taxes in the future. You may be working now. You might be married. You might be single. In the future, you might have some retired years where you have lower income. Then you'll have years where you have required minimum distributions coming in. You may have some years where you're a widow or a widower. All of those different time frames will have a different tax bracket that will impact the taxes that you pay. And you want to think through that to make sure that if you do a conversion today, that you are actually paying less tax on those dollars than you would pay in the future. Now, to give you a couple of examples of some recent financial plans I've done, I have one couple who have about $1.5 million saved in IRAs and 401ks, and they're going to have Social Security income in addition to that. And because of their age and the way that they're invested and the amount of money that they're going to need, the required minimum distributions plus their Social Security is going to put them at the bottom of the 22% tax bracket, which will become 25% in the future. And that means that they're going to have most of their income coming through those two lower tax brackets that are below that 22 or 25% bracket. They'll end up paying roughly 15 to 16% effective tax on their income in our projections. And because they're now still working currently, they're not going to do Roth conversions right now because they would end up paying more in tax than if they didn't. I have another client, we did a financial plan, looked at all of their numbers, and they have more than $5 million in IRAs. And because of that, they are going to end up in the 33% tax bracket by the time they actually get to required minimum distribution age with all the growth on the IRA and the required minimum distributions that are required to come out of that. They're going to be in the 33% tax bracket at that point. It makes sense in their situation to chip away at that because if they don't, those IRA balances just continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger. So they're going to do Roth conversions to begin to get as much as they can out of that IRA, and they're actually going to do that to the top of the 32% bracket because that's lower than what they're going to be forced to pay in the future when they do their required minimum distributions. They had not thought about it that way before. No one had shown them that. So they are actually minimizing their lifetime taxes by paying that much more in tax currently because they're putting themselves in a much better position overall for the long term. So what you have to do is look at what bracket are you in now, what bracket will you be in later, how much tax will you pay, and how can you reduce your lifetime tax bill. That will put you on the best path for your retirement.